What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CryptoQuandary, and today is going to be part one of the Satoshi Nakamoto reveal. He does not reveal who he is, obviously. If you thought he was going to reveal who he is, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next few days because it is a three-part series, but let's get moving. Before I even go into anything, I hope everybody's doing well, and hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to a new week. So right as of right now, this page is just gotten refreshed, but we'll do it again. So Bitcoin is sitting at 10,724. We have Ethereum at 201. XRP is at 28 cents. Bitcoin Cash 325. Litecoin 78. BNB Binance Coin 29. Tether is $1.01. EOS is 377. We have Satoshi's Vision of Bitcoin at 144. Monero is at 87. We have Stellar at 7 cents and Cardano at 5. And for those of you who followed Digibyte, I believe, hit a penny again. It went back up to 1 penny. We'll find it. Give me 1 second. I believe it's 50. Yep, 52. Well, it's at 0.009, so it's almost a penny. It's right there. So yeah, that's going to be the top 10 plus Cardano and Digibyte, I guess, if you want to call it that. So moving on, Satoshi Nakamoto. Let's not start that again. Satoshi Nakamoto Bitcoin reveal is an epic fail. So this article basically goes over what the paper says. It goes over what is written right here, which is extremely lengthy. So if you want to take a look at it and read it fully for yourself, go to ivymclemore.com/post/my-reveal. And again, this is a three-part series he's doing supposedly, so we'll see if it continues. I guess I shouldn't even say he, because we don't know. There's no real legitimacy to if it is correct or if it's legitimate. We don't know yet. So basically, what it went over was self-proclaimed Satoshi Nakamoto over-promised and undelivered in part one of his big reveal, probably to the surprise of no one in crypto. So part one was supposed to be who he is and everything, but in any good series, and that's how you have to look at it, unfortunately, it's a series. It says right there, part one. Part one, okay, if there's 2 parts, it's still a series. So it could essentially just be somebody putting out a series. It could be a content creator putting out a series, or it could be real. But why would you release the biggest thing everybody wants to know? Well, normal people, what they want to know. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Why would you just throw that all out there in the first part? Doesn't make sense. So you'd wait until the end, and this is who I am. So we'll see if he actually gets to that point, if this is even him. Anyways, in a meandering blog post, the self-proclaimed Bitcoin inventor did not reveal his name, nor did he produce a photo of himself, so we're still no closer to learning his true identity than we were before the reveal. One tidbit he dropped was his nickname as a child was Shaiko, a Pakistani name. He teased that he'll disclose his real-life identity on August 20th. So, we shall see. Nakamoto now apparently lives in the UK and claims to be the son of a banker who had worked at United Bank Limited, a Pakistani multinational bank. Claims he was inspired to create Bitcoin after becoming disillusioned with corruption and legacy banking. Moreover, Nakamoto says he has become disillusioned with Bitcoin because it's being used for criminal activity and has been hijacked by greed. These sentiments mirror the assertions of Craig Wright, the other self-proclaimed Satoshi. So again, it could be Craig Wright. Nobody really knows. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying it's not. We don't know. I am Satoshi Nakamoto. I have always believed in freedom and the liberation of the common man, and that's the reason I began my Bitcoin journey. But it's ironic that I got trapped into something which I set myself free from, and it took me 8 or 9 years to understand and get the courage to fight myself and come out without this erroneous notion that what would the world think about the truth, as truth is always stranger than fiction. It goes on to say when he began his journey, his closest mentor and ally was Hal. Described in March 2000 when Satoshi announced Bitcoin and cryptography mailing list, he got a skeptical reception at best, which is absolutely true. I was adamant that I'd create history, and I did. However, somewhere down the road, I lost it. So it goes on to say he forgot who he was. He wasn't with anyone or anything else but himself. Coming back now, not to prove anything or anyone, but I ought to prove to myself and can defeat you. So basically, he's doing this to prove it to himself. The origins of Bitcoin. Says people think my development of Bitcoin was just a fluke or something that was designed and happened overnight. But looking back, I realized that this is not the case. Bitcoin was created through circumstantial requirements, but its current exposure cannot be attributed to design. From creation to current maturity, Bitcoin's trajectory has led me to hide and protect myself from my familial judgments, as I could not be attributed to something that at one point in its history had been declared illegal by some government. At its conception, Bitcoin was worth mere cents. Later, its usage was hijacked for illicit means. I made decisions and set off a chain of events to create distance between my creation and myself. Today, when Bitcoin is understood, so right there, he talks about, the reason that he created the distance had to do with, it was hijacked for, not good, to do not so good things with. Today, when Bitcoin is understood by the advance of technology, but at the same time is being hijacked by greed, I feel I have a duty to work hard to make my creation better, take its vision to the next level. The following goes on. It goes some way to explain this journey. Okay, so Hal Finney. I couldn't think of his last name for some odd reason, but Hal Finney is the Hal he was talking about before, about being his mentor. Nakamoto claims his closest ally mentor was deceased computer scientist Hal Finney. As CCN reported, Finney was an early Bitcoin contributor who many in the crypto world believe was the real Satoshi Nakamoto. A longtime cryptographer and cypherpunk, Finney was the first person to ever conduct a Bitcoin transaction. He also allegedly posted the very first tweet about Bitcoin in January 2009. Hal Finn running Bitcoin, January 11th, 1/11/2009. 1/11/11. 5 ones. Okay, throwing it out there. Some will get it, some won't. It's okay though. Looking at ways to add more anonymity to Bitcoin. Hal Finn. Again, January 22nd, 2009. Created Bitcoin to empower the little guy. Satoshi claims that the 2008 recession was a major impetus for his creation of Bitcoin. Basically, he claims that he wanted to democratize financial services so anyone could have access to it. So he wanted to empower the poor person, empower the little man, and create something that was accessible to people's money. His idea was a people's bank with no boundaries, no nationalities, and no discrimination. Further contends that the whole point of Bitcoin was to circumvent centralized government control to transcend petty, divisive politics. Divisive politics. So yes, what do we say? Proof of keys? Yes. BYOB? No, not bring your own beverage on this platform. Beverage. Be your own bank. You work hard for your money, so when you get your money, it's your money. Why should you have to give your money, dish your money out to somebody and say, here, you hold that for me? It's your money. Like, why? And nobody really actually has to do that, and that would be the argument, that nobody has to actually do that. You can take all your money and put it in a safe. You can put it all in your pockets if you have pockets big enough. But, I mean, in all reality, who in the world can do that? We need to put our money somewhere, and to sit there and put it in this little wallet, it's amazing. And I know they're working on technology now to where, what if we had a power outage or an internet or crash or something, or Bluetooth or whatever? How would you be able to send the funds? So I know they're working on that. I believe it was Rice Crypto on his channel. He interviewed, and please forgive me, I forget exactly who he interviewed, but I know they were talking about, they were dancing around the fact that they were working on technology for things like that. This way, you go into a store to buy something, there is no internet needed. You just take your wallet and done. I mean, they need to have a wallet that you can see how much is on there and just touch it to something, and you plug in the amount, 0.01 Bitcoin, whatever, and you just tap it, it's gone. It's on the other wallet. And it'll happen, but slow and steady wins a race. It's when all these things are pushed out super fast, that's when we have all these bugs and problems and issues of things we run into that just cause headaches. So just have patience. If you hodl, you have patience. You get it. Moving on. Necessity is the mother of invention. The final push for Bitcoin to be created came about not only from my own personal banking experience, my need to redeem BCCI after its unfair demise, but also from the Great Recession of 2008. On a personal level, when I visited the UK in 2005, no bank would open its doors for me to give access to a bank account because I didn't have a permanent UK address. Without an account, I had no access to online facilities. I didn't know how to overcome this obstacle. I didn't like the way banks controlled and utilized other people's money, and I wanted to at least try to change this. I felt like a failure and was humiliated by the banks, so I made it my mission to invent something that would enable a common layperson to access money without involving the big banks, which makes sense. Depending on your thoughts and opinions, again, this video is just my opinion. I'm just putting it out there. So do with it what you will. Think about it how you want to think. It's just to open your mind. Open your mind and think. Just open your mind and think. That's it. All this video is for. Not shoving Bitcoin down your throat. Not telling you to go buy it and hold it and buy it and sell it on the buy on the dips and sell on the peaks, and no. I'm just saying, open your mind, go research, do your own research too. I wanted to empower the poor person, and he said that already. Empower the poor, help the people that aren't so wealthy. Even a poor kid with a limited education could potentially reap the benefits from Bitcoin while sitting in China, India, or Africa. Which we're seeing now with Electronium. You look into Electronium, and again, this is not investing advice. I'm not telling you to go buy Electronium. If you want to check out Electronium and you want it, go mine it. It's been sitting at 0.004 cents, 0.005 cents in US dollars for a long time. Like, just go mine it. Download the app, mine it. It mines in the cloud. All you got to do, I think it's every 24 hours, is click the extend button. However, the point being, believe it's in Africa, people can actually use Electronium to top off their phone bills with. So basically, you mine it all month, and then you top off your phone bill with it. You purchase more minutes for your phone. Phone bill is taken care of. You're mining it, and it's worth 0.004 of a penny. So, I mean, it probably takes a lot to get to the point where you can do that, but it's a step in the right direction. So, how Bitcoin got its name, now this is interesting. I want to think outside the bubble a little bit on this one. The origins of the word Bitcoin were derived not just from the IT terminology of bit, but because I was obsessed with bringing back the BCCI name to its glory days while structuring the unnamed decentralized digital currency. I was looking at the name Bank of Credit and Commerce International. And the light bulb moment came where the letters were calling me to pick the name. The letters were Bank of Credit and Commerce International. Bitcoin. I was determined to bring back the BCCI name anyway. But initially, I realized this had to be in an encrypted way, as I knew BCCI as a name was tarnished. I had intentions to create a new age digital bank, create a system having open source access, but I had intention to make it more useful and more polished at a later time. For this reason, I registered the domain bitcoin.org. 18th of August 2008, through anonymous speech, which is where his website came from, which did not require the registrant to identify him or herself. So basically, he went on there, he went through anonymous speech, made the website, and without giving any, I guess, KYC, know your customer. You didn't have to give a picture, an ID, this or that, anything. Just boom, made his website. I started working on Bitcoin in 2006. Claims he and Hal Finney started collaborating on a peer-to-peer electronic cash system from 06 to 08. The P2P cash system became what we know as Bitcoin. Numerology. So it also goes on to say he used numerology to encrypt many of the decisions he made while developing Bitcoin. I firmly believe that anything he is going to say about himself, and we'll see what happens, I don't think he's gonna sit there and just say, "Oh, I'm Joe Blue" or whatever. I think he's gonna make us work to find out who he really is. So at the end of this, we'll see what happens if it really is real, and this really is Satoshi Nakamoto. I wouldn't be surprised if he put out a cryptographic message with a bunch of things that somebody had to figure out in order to find out his real name. Pretty interesting. Be interesting to find out. Satoshi Nakamoto. I began my work on the idea for Bitcoin, just an alias forename, didn't have any intention of creating a surname. Using Satoshi in many of my initial email addresses. It was not long after I left the development of Bitcoin that I found that my email addresses had been hacked. I was very careful to crypto communications, even with my closet collaborators, and never revealed any personal details. Gavin Anderson, Nick Szabo, and others all know very little about me. I cannot recall exactly, but when Hal initially saw my name of Satoshi online sometime in 0506, he commented, Satoshi who? Satoshi Nakamoto. This must have been subconsciously lodged in my mind, thus creating the surname Satoshi. Not learned for many years after I created Bitcoin that Hal lived in the same Temple City, California neighborhood as one of only 3 people in the U.S. at the time with the name Satoshi Nakamoto. The man's full name is Dorian Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm laughing because this poor guy got all the heat for this, and let's check it out real quick. We'll give it a little Google. This gentleman right here. This poor guy. This poor guy. I say this poor guy, but he's gonna come out one day and say, "Yeah, I created Bitcoin." Watch. But it's just funny. Poor guy. And moving on. I was paranoid in those days, but Hal didn't know that, and neither was he interested in asking relevant questions. When I firstly communicated to him and he gave me his surname Nakamoto, he did ask where I was from. My answer was that I'm from Asian ancestry. He assumed that as Japanese because of my pseudonym. Hal was the only one who I told about my actual ancestry. That's why I was laughing when it says Asian ancestry. If you remember a little bit ago in the beginning, it said that the other name that he had was Pakistan. So that's kind of like, two total opposite ends. You have Pakistani and then you have, Asian, and it's crazy. And this is how it came about, apparently, supposedly. So pretty wild. And another I will say though, it's a pretty good way to get, to get an anonymous name, I guess. Somebody just says something and it sticks. Who's gonna know? At another point in his tedious manifesto, he suggests that he's of Asian ancestry but is not Japanese. Okay, so he is Asian ancestry. He claims he'll reveal more details in part 2 and part 3 of his big reveal. However, if anything like part 1, you're in for a major letdown. Alright, so that's the article, and that was written by Samantha Chang. Let's give credit where it's due. Good job. So, my reveal. This is the little bits and pieces she had in there. So there's a couple things we'll touch on in here. This secret bank in BCCI disguised large losses. Jury finds bankers guilty. The world's sleaziest bank. There's a lot of things here that aren't positive about them. Disney's amazing. Whatever, some article. My master's thesis. How Bitcoin got its name. We went over all this. So here's some of the code. This was from his website. When he made his website, if you actually check it out, where was it? I was looking at it. Register. Okay, so this is the thing. Registry expiry date 8/18/2021 is when this is set to expire. If it is not updated or what's the word I'm looking for? Renewed. So is he trying to tell us something? Is Bitcoin going to be worth, again, just saying, is Bitcoin going to be worth $1 million? 8/18/2021, and Mr. Nakamoto is going to go buy Bitcoin. Who knows? We don't know. We will never know till that date, or until this is renewed. Anyway, this doesn't seem like somebody who's just going to dump Bitcoin. Obviously, for what's he going to put it into? Litecoin? No. He fully believes in decentralization. That's where his funds are. That's where his wealth is, and I'm sure he finds ways to spend it. But yeah. Creation date was 8/18/2008. So the original domain registration Bitcoin.org at the same time. We read all that already. We went over that in the article. Yeah, new identities. That was pretty much the whole thing. Power of numbers. Bits of information that carry an intrinsic energetic quality, and that by studying numerology, you can gain a better understanding of the deeper meaning and purpose underlying our experience. This is kind of like more on a spiritual level, in a sense. If you go ahead and look up numerology, it's wild. I mean, if you look at the pictures, even the thumbnail on this video, you have the Anon mask with a bunch of numbers, and it's just all ones and zeros. So that's like the Matrix. Uh, he's a student of Chaldean numerology since childhood. And if he's been doing this since childhood, I'd say he's pretty freaking smart. Well, obviously he's pretty freaking smart. He created Bitcoin, but I mean, with numerology and figuring all this stuff out. So if he decides to, and this is his Pakistani name, Shaiko, I believe that's what it was. But yeah, nickname Shaiko is calculated. So S is 3, 5 is H. If you guys want to check this out, just go on this website because this is wild. This could literally wrap your brain in a knot if you let it. Then taking it to the next step in Chilean system, you add digits 2 and 4 into 24. And this is what I was saying earlier. The date Hal Finney had put, he made that post, numerology. And it was just regular numerology. It wasn't Chaldean numerology. And again, I'm not an expert on all this numerology. I don't know if it's two different forms or whatever, but in any sense, in any case, what I was talking about earlier was numerology, more on a spiritual level. But then taken to the next step in the system, you add the digit 2 and 4 to 24, and then 2 plus 4 is 6. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I was doing before. Nickname of Shaiko is equivalent to the number 24 in Chilean, and this name began with the letter S. I also wanted to make my alias start with the letter S, and with the same number as 24, which equates to the number 6, which is very important in many religions. Okay. Man's deep. While dealing with and exploring the financial world, I heard about Satoshi Sumida. He was often blamed for the easy monetary policies of the Bank of Japan, which gave rise to the Japanese asset price bubble of the late 80s. Subsequent research has exonerated him. I was working on something which was going to change the world forever, and Satoshi was a perfect match, and nicknamed Shaiko, which was a perfect match in consonance vowels too. And he goes on with more numerology. Yeah, smart. Hal Finney is a Steam programmer. Again, if you guys want to read more about this way of thinking. Okay, so this is his way of thinking. He spots the right piece of the solution of the Byzantine general's problem and how Sisyphus for our conventional programmer techie, with some people have sensed that already, but I'm good on macro level vision and seeing things on a far bigger scale. I can go to a future graveyard of technology and spot useful things that have been abandoned, but in these things I can spot the future and build a giant from it like Lego. For those not familiar with the BGP, it is a fictitious problem first referenced in the 82 paper, The Byzantine General's Problem. In simple terms, BGP asks the question, how do you make sure that multiple entities which are separated by distance are in absolute full agreement before the action is taken? Practical application of the solution to the BGP is referenced in the 08 white paper, Bitcoin P2P electronic cash system. Of course, I'd love to take all the credit solving this, but that's not me, although I'll give myself some credit. All right, so he's not taking all the credit. I've been very lucky in having an eye for smart people. My visions work, obviously. I play the orchestra where I know which musician is best. Okay, we read about Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto equals 55. Okay, all right, here you go, more numerology and spiritual meaning. When deciding on an alias surname, I wanted to master a numerological name which had 2 Mercury numbers, 5 associated with it. Mercury is the messenger of God in astrology. I told you it had something to do with spirituality, did I not? 10, okay, symbolized by 2 hands, 10 fingers that join at the moment of prayer. In Chaldean numerology, a person with 55 name is said to have the power to defeat any enemy he faces. Makes sense. Bitcoin, what are they trying to do? Think about it. Decentralized versus a centralized bank. I also like the first verse from the Torah Bibles, Isaiah chapter 55. It's very close to my heart as I wanted to create something for people with no money or for people to mine their own money. Come all you who are thirsty, come to the waters, and you who have no money, sorry. Come buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without cost. So this is the name Satoshi Nakamoto. This is how the name Satoshi Nakamoto came into existence. Satoshi means clear thinking, quick-witted, wise. Naka means medium, inside, or relationship. Moto means origin or foundation. Satoshi is on Satoshi on its own was also the number 24 in Chaldean numerology, which is the same as my nickname Shaiko 24 and Satoshi Nakamoto's 55. All right, so this is pretty deep. You got to put on the you might have to put on the tinfoil hat and open up the old pineal gland, but pretty deep stuff. So you gotta have a clear mind for this. If you're actually like reading into it, you want to really understand it on a spiritual level. Yeah. So this is the two computers here. He still has the Fujitsu Lifebook. I'm sorry, yeah, Lifebook laptop I use with Hal Finney on development of Bitcoin. So that's it. And if you search that serial number, you can find it. There was a clearer picture, and I searched it. I didn't find anything on it. Obviously, I'm probably not going to find anything, but it's interesting to try and search it. Satoshi Nakamoto is going to come for me now for searching serial number. Thank you, my friend. Hal knew from one day I was neither a cypherpunk nor a hardcore techie, but so basically he had, confidence in him. Today, trying to mystery. All right, so Satoshi's true identity has become a mystery, which we know. We wouldn't be reading this. But at that time, I thought I was dealing with a young man of Japanese ancestry who was very smart and sincere. I've had the good fortune to know many brilliant people over the course of my life, so I recognize the sign. I think he used this post a way to communicate with me, as he knew all my emails had been hacked. Unfortunately, by the time I looked at the post, he was gone forever. I mean, maybe Satoshi Nakamoto is going, maybe he's going through some things. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, think about it. He's a person who created something and then went totally anonymous off the grid. Maybe he doesn't have anybody at all, and he's getting to the point in his life where he's trying to figure out how to come out and be social and talk to people. I don't know, but I'm sure he does talk to people, obviously. But I think you get what I'm saying. Hal Finney passed away. God bless him. But he passed away, and it just seems like when I read about his death in 2014 from amyotrophic ALS, the same disease that last year claimed the renowned physicist Stephen Hawking, I thought I should come out and say something, but I kept asking if revealing myself then was worth the risk. I owe Hal a lot. He was a true genius at some point in my life. If I could do something so people remember him by, I'll do so. Rest in peace, Alfie. So that was part one. Part two is ciphers, encryption, and my 980,000 bitcoins. About that. Man's got 980,000 bitcoins. Quite a bit. Do you have one? All right, well, that was part one. We'll go over part two when it comes out. If you want to go over this numerology, go ahead. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to jump down the rabbit hole. You will go down a rabbit hole if you start looking up numerology. But with that said, I hope everybody has an awesome week, or I'll just say an awesome day, because I'll probably be on here doing another video tomorrow for part two, because this is interesting. Like I said, nobody knows if it's real. Nobody knows if it's fake. Who in the world knows? I don't know. You probably don't know, unless you're Satoshi Nakamoto himself, which I doubt is watching my video. But if you are, keep doing what you do, man. Keep it up. BYOB. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good day, and we will see you tomorrow for part 2. Peace.